Good evening and welcome in to this Facebook Live this evening. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and I come in twice a week, Monday mornings and Thursday evenings, and occasionally other times too, and we do some crafting together, and that's what the plan is for this evening. So it's really lovely to welcome you in. Excuse me, stretching over. I'm just plugging in some more lights because it is really dark outside now. Night has very truly well in. So we need to put a few lights on. Oh. There we go. That's that one. And I've got one more here that we can pop on. Ooh, got a bit of a disco going on with that one. There we go. Okay, so we have some light on the subject. So the picture I have before me is not anything that we're going to be creating this evening. You may have seen a Facebook post earlier in the week, Tuesday, when my granddaughter had laid out all her craft supplies on my table. Looked as if she was, for the world, as if she was going to launch into a Facebook Live herself, and was indeed giving me a running commentary on her picture. And here was her picture that she created for me. My splatty paintings and some stickers and all sorts of things. And then she wanted me to write out, wanted to know what letters to write. So it's we have a nanny there, not necessarily in the right order, but we have a big N and an A and two small N's and a Y, and we have a love and a from and Thea. So to nanny, love from Thea. So that was my beautiful picture that she created for me on Tuesday. So I thought I'd share that one with you. Why not? Some young crafters in the making. But I also thought I would highlight the fact that we sort of get very focused on, so we're very focused at the moment on Sale-a-Bration and on the mini catalogue, but these aren't the only current brochures and the only current catalogues and the only current places that you can go and look for things to shop and things to buy. Obviously Sale-a-Bration is products that you can earn when you shop in any other current brochures. So we have our beautiful mini catalogue, absolutely jam-packed, full of gorgeousness. We still have our annual catalogue, even more jam-packed, full of gorgeousness. We tend to forget it, but it's still there and it's still very current. And we also have our coordination product release with all those fabulous dies and papers and things that coordinate with either Sale-a-Bration or with items from the mini catalogue. So all of those things are current, and all of those places are places that you can shop to earn your Sale-a-Bration products. And there will be a second release of Sale-a-Bration products at the beginning of March, and those brochures I have printed myself one off. I've yet to have some through the post. I've yet to order some, but I will order a few of the second release Sale-a-Bration brochures as well, and they will be going live to customers in March, so that's something to look forward to. But for today, as on Monday, we're going to be focusing on this Sale-a-Bration bundle just here, and this is a bundle of products that you can get if you spend £90 on any purchases from those current catalogues. So a £90 spend, and you could be adding this bundle to your basket, and the bundle consists of this fabulous stamp set with some greetings and those lovely sort of Japanese themed images, and this great embossing folder. And this picture on this embossing folder does not do it justice. It is a really lovely embossing folder. So that bundle will be added. You can add that to any order of £90 or more. You can have that as your choice. And I have already been creating a few things with this bundle. So we have our card that we made on Monday that we cased from the brochure. So you can see there, if we can catch the light properly, you can see the effects of that embossing folder. It really is a great embossing folder. and we did some stamping and some watercolouring. That was Monday's Facebook Live. This was a card that I produced for January's evening classes that go around the county. Again, there's that embossing folder, some of those lovely stamps. And this is a card that has been added to the bundle, the PDF bundle that you can get if you shop with me this month. So that is one of the projects that you will find in that bundle. So lots of lovely projects we've already made with these stamps and with these embossing folders, but we're going to go on to create some more this evening. So I've got a couple of things in mind, so we will see how they pan out, how they work, how it goes from my head into reality. Hopefully they'll both work out. So let's start with, I'm going to grab some card here, and I've got some Coastal Cabana, some Bermuda Bay and some shimmery white cardstock just there. So I'm going to start with my large Bermuda Bay piece. Did I pick up a large Bermuda Bay piece? No, I didn't. That wasn't very sensible, because I do need it, because I need my card base to go the other way. Excuse me, I'm just untangling myself with my when my microphone has tied itself round some pieces. So apologies that you're being wobbled all over the place. Right, so we have a piece of A4 card, and I'm inspired to do this card by, I had a new lady come and join me at my Created by You class this week, and she was creating some cards that were similar format to this, and I thought today, well, that would be quite a nice card to do on the live. Let's do one like that. So I've cut that piece of A4 card straight down the middle at 10.5 centimetres, and now I'm going to score it at 14.9. so I'm making a side opening landscape card, just like that. And then I'm going to take this front section just here. I think I decided 7 centimetres, and I'm going to chop that off. So now I have a sort of truncated card that way, and then the piece that I've just cut off of there. So let's pop that to one side, because now what I want to do is I want to take this Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to cut one piece so that I cut it at 14.9. Cut that piece of card in half for now. Actually, I could have cut that at 14.4, would have been more sensible. Okay, so I'm going to cut that at 14.4, and then I'm going to cut a piece that's 10 centimetres, and that will give me a back piece on there. And then this bit here is going to be 7.9 centimetres. I'm going to cut this at 7.4 centimetres, and again trim it down to 10 centimetres. And hopefully, if that maths was right, yes, that's looking pretty good, isn't it? That's going to sit on there, and then we want a piece. Is that going to be big enough? Yes. So we need this to be 6.5 centimetres, because that front panel was 7 by 10. Perfect. And then I want a piece of my shimmery white card. And we're going to cut this so it is 6 centimetres by 9.5. I might come back and cut some more shimmery white. We will see how we go. And that will then sit on there. So that's our mats cut. Let's just pop this out of the way for a second. And I'm going to take this panel from here, so this front panel just here, and I'm going to emboss that with this folder. So I will need, I need my blue embossing plate, which is going to be in the box that went out to the class last night. So let's grab that. So it is a 3D embossing folder, and of course these new embossing folders are thicker than standard embossing folders, but not quite as thick as our old 3D embossing folders used to be. So we need just our big shot platform, we need our embossing folder with our cardstock in it, and we're going to put the the embossing folder going through the machine first, and then we're going to have our blue plate on the top, and that should be the perfect sandwich to emboss that piece of card. Let me move that blue embossing folder to one side for a moment. Pop that back on there. And we'll take our piece of card out of there, and we have that beautifully embossed piece of card just there, which we are going to stick onto that front panel. So I will leave the sticking just for a moment. So then we're going to take our piece of shimmery white. The orientation is round. So I'm going to take from this stamp set, I'm going to take this stamp just here with this pagoda on it. And I'm going to try something new that has only arrived. Well, it arrived yesterday afternoon, and I've not had a chance to play with it at all. This first outing, I'm going to use my saddle brown. Ooh, a little sticker in there that says, create side swatch label for. That's good, isn't it? So you've got two little stickers on there that you can ink up and put on the side of your lid, so when they're stacked you can see what colour they are. So I need to put that somewhere safe for a moment. I'm going to lay it on my laptop so that I can find that and do that a bit later on. So the brown stays on is in stock. We are still waiting on the refills, but hopefully it will keep going as long as it takes for the refill to come in. So I've inked that up, and I'm going to stamp that on there. Oh, that's rather fun, isn't it? Sorry, you can't see that. So I've just stamped that pagoda with that saddle brown ink. So I think that's going to be a really nice addition to our collection, because you don't always want your stamping to be in black. And now what I'm going to dig out is watercolour pencils. again I'm going to look for, there's a Bermuda Bay one that will tone nicely with our background. And if I dig about in set number 2, hopefully I'll find a Coastal Cabana one. Might leave the early espresso out as well. We'll see how we get on. So I think where the lines are on here and around the edge, I'm going to put down some Bermuda Bay pencil. And come in with our Coastal Cabana. At this stage I'm not being very particular, I'm just laying down colour. Let's take a blender pen. I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap card from underneath my glass mat just so that I can have a bit of a scribble and make sure, doubly sure, that there isn't any residual colour left on my blender pen. And then I'm just going to blend those two colours together. Then I'm going to take the Coastal Cabana one, which is the slightly paler one, and we'll put down a bit of ground just to ground it. And we'll take that stamp that says today is a day for new beginnings, and we'll stamp that on there as well. Fabulous. Right. Now, to dig about in my ribbon box, and I can find the end of my ribbon. Oh dear, there's some just gone on the floor. We have got this rather nice Bermuda Bay stripe, and it is a sort of Bermuda Bay at its darkest and Coastal Cabana at its lightest, so it's perfect for adding into this project. I think what I'm going to do is I shall wrap some here before I stick that down, and then when we add that in we can tie a bit of a knot or something just there. So find our paper snips, just measure a piece of ribbon slightly longer than that card, get some tear and tape, quick slurp of tea, tear off a couple of pieces of this tape. Do come on and say hello if you're coming in to see us. Let us know who you are, what you're doing, what you've been doing today. If you've been crafting, what have you been creating? What the weather's like where you are. We've had sort of a bit of a mixture of sunshine and blustery showers here. Looking around for my snail and can't see it, but it's because my worktop is black and the snail is black and it's sitting in the shadows. So it just had moulded itself in. Right, so we'll put that on there. Stick that down. And we'll stick that down just there. And then we'll stick these layers together. So this is different colours we've used before. Goes to show you don't have to be limited by your colour palette. We're going to have this one coming across this way. I'm going to snip some of these odd dimensional bits, and I just want them to go on, make sure I get the right size, this side of the card. Those about there. So a really simple but really effective style of card. You're just using a standard, the same amount of card you'd use for any standard card base, but just being able to create something a bit different with it. Paper snips and give that a snip. And it just looks, that brown ink has just given it a really different look. So that's a very simple card, a very clean and simple card, but you've just got that bit of embossing on the back here. Got your stamping and your watercolour pencils. So a really simple card, but it really is quite effective. So let's put our cherry poplar back into box number 2 and back into box number 1. Tuck those to one side for now. ribbon. And we will get ready to move on to card number 2. Just looking around to see. Ah, it's behind me. When you can't find what you're looking for, just want to clean up the stays on off of that stamp. So I am going to grab a baby wipe. I am trying to reduce the amount of baby wipes that I am using. That stays on just that little bit more difficult to clean off than the water-based ink. Let's give that a good dry and greeting. At the end of the day, if they stain, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't alter the usefulness of the stamp. It is purely cosmetic. But let's pop those in there for now. So, first successful use of our saddle brown stays on ink. So that was good. Now we're going to go on and try the card again. Again, we're going to do a bit of a fancy fold. But this time we're going to go with a black and red and gold type colour palette, which is very sort of oriental. So I'm going to start with a piece of black card as my background piece. Quick slurp of tea. Now I want this to be a trifold card, so I know that if I score this card at 9.9, that should be about right for that trifold card. So there we have our trifold card. And before, oh, apologies, making you seasick. Before we go on any further, I'm going to take the everyday label punch, and I've got a double, hoping that it's going to punch through that double fold for me. I'm going to line it up so this is as central as I can get it by eye, and so the bottom of this card is coming halfway down that punch. And of course I'm not looking straight on because of the camera. I think that's about right. Yes, it did chomp through those two bits for me. So now I'm going to want to do this third piece the same. So let's line that up. Perfect. So now what we've got is a nice sort of screen effect, a folding screen. Now, if my rough calculations were right earlier. Looking for my ruler. I think that drop there is about 2 centimetres, so that should be, look at that, yes it is, about 19 centimetres long. So that's perfect. So we're going to do some panels now. So we know that to put some panels on the front of here, we need to, our black card is 19 centimetres long by 9.9 centimetres wide. So we'll call that 10 amongst friends. And we'll cut this piece of card, this red piece of card, Poppy Parade. So it is 19 centimetres, no, 18.5 centimetres long. And we'll go 9.4. 9.4 and 9.4. Those are our red mats to go on there. I'm then going to take some gold foil. And I'm going to cut this at 18 centimetres. And this wants to be 8.9. Now, having all that cardstock sitting behind a different piece of card, one thing, but gold foil is quite something else. So I'm going to gut these. I'm not worrying particularly about them being perfect as long as the frame on them is wide enough, because then I can put that piece of gold foil back in my stash, ready to use at another time. So as I say, this isn't any particular measurement, it just is gutting the middle out of this foil. Because I'm being frugal. And we won't know, once this card's put together, you won't know that I gutted that centrepiece. It just seems such a waste. A huge chunk of gold foil sitting at the back of a card where you can't see it. Oh, that might get away with it. Right. And then we want one last layer of black. So we've had 19, 18.5, 18, 17.5. And we want it to be 8.4, don't we? That was 8.9, wasn't it? Yeah. 8.4. 8.4 and last 8.4. Right. Got my trimmer to one side for now, and these are the pieces that we're going to initially be working on. I'm going to take the Thoughtful Blooms stamp set, which is another Sale-a-Bration stamp set, and you can get the stamp. This is a stamp set that you can get with a £45 order, but then there is a small bloom punch that goes with it that you can get with a £90 order. So if you want that bundle, you need to place an order for £135. There's some quick maths for you. Now, just remember that one of those stamp sets is missing in action. It's just here. It's still sitting on the stamp apparatus following last night's class, and I'm not sure how much that's been cleaned up, so let's just give that a wiggle. Now what I want to do is I want to put some sort of flowers on this, around the top of these banners as a start off, and I'm going to gold emboss them. So let's get out our embossing buddy, and let's give this black card more than any other, just picks everything up, so you really need your embossing buddy with black card. So there's that. And I'm also going to take this solid flower image just here. Let's dig that out and find the little block. And our Versamark ink. Right, I'm going to get my gold embossing powder. Okay, sit that to one side in a minute. We'll heat them. We'll do all the foliage bits first, and then heat those. Sprinkle the powder on it while it's still nice and sticky. And 2. And number 3. Right, so let's just grab our heat gun and heat those up. Gold is still the best when it comes to it popping as it heats, isn't it? That gold on black really just pops out. Fabulous, just magical. One. Two. And last but by no means least, number 3. Right, now we're going to, where's that little flower gone? Let's take this little flower, we'll stamp that in there. And that in there. Just the difference between where it's embossed and where it isn't. One. 2. And last but by no means least, 1. 2. Okay, we'll pop the top on that for now. We may need some more in a minute, who can tell, but for now. I love heat embossing, Angie. Just is magical, isn't it? Particularly gold. This is what got me into card making in the first place, watching gold embossing powder go from that really dull colour to that beautiful shine, and on black it just is just wow. Love that. Okay. So we're sort of building up our panels. They're looking good, aren't they? So then what I want to do is I'm going to take some more Poppy Parade cardstock, and I'm going to take the lady, and we're going to go back to the pagoda. Let me just take that stamp off of that block. Let's get our embossing buddy again, and we'll rub that over our card. Because I'm going to go with gold, but I'm going to stamp it onto red and then just fussy cut it out. Roughly fussy cut it out. So we get the sort of sense of a red image. I hope the cat doesn't take too long to come in, Angie. The things we do for our pets, eh? I did think to myself it must be very early in the morning for you, but I know that there's 1 or 2 ladies that are very early risers. I try not to be too early a riser if I can possibly help it. Let's just do our lady. And thank you very much for sharing. That is brilliant. If anybody is able to share these videos, it does help. Every little helps. Helps me to continue and to be able to carry on doing these things. Let's sprinkle some gold embossing on there, some gold embossing powder. heat gun. There it goes. Oh gosh, we don't have that problem. It's not, we've had a lot of wind over the last few days. We haven't had any really cold temperatures, I have to say. It's not got really cold overnight, but certainly not anywhere as hot as that. So let's just cut round these little images. I'll bring that across there so that I'm not fiddling around with such a large piece of card. Leaving a bit of a border. That way you don't have to get quite so intricate with your cutting. Obviously, could possibly be spending more time on this than I am. Round we come. Let's chop up there. Hi Roz. Oh, excellent, down for a nap. My dog Taz is doing really well. I mean, he definitely has been diagnosed with cancer. We have made the decision that we are not going to put him through the ordeal of lots of treatments and things. He is sort of about 14, we don't know exactly, but because we had him as a rescue dog. But he is around about 14 years of age, which for the size of dog that he is, he's a Labrador Collie Cross, is quite an age, and he was starting to get quite distressed by all the vet's visits and things. So we decided that we opted for quality of life as the priority, and to love him while we've got him, and to spoil him while we've got him. And actually, having said that, since Christmas, since he's got over all his ops and things, he's been really quite happy, quite contented. The vets are really pleased with him. The growth doesn't seem to be growing at too alarming a rate, so he's very happy in himself at the moment, and so we are enjoying this time with him really, and long may he continue to feel happy in himself. He loves it when I have classes. He loves greeting all the ladies. He sees it as his job to meet them at the door, and they all love him with very few exceptions. So yes, in himself he's really well at the moment. For an old boy, he snoozes a lot, but that's allowed. Why not? But thank you for asking. Everybody was so kind when he was poorly. Right. So let's have a look. Obviously this is sort of coming out of my head, so we're making it up as we go along. No, not everyone. And some people are sort of more cat orientated than dog, and we've had both. and rabbits and guinea pigs and hamsters and fish and you name it. Thank you, Angie. It's yeah, as I say, in himself, he's a very jolly chap at the moment, so, and he gets away with having extra treats and things, so, you know, he's living life to the full at the moment. Right, so I think I quite like the idea of having those in the corner like that. I did pick out a greeting. I've picked it out of this fluorescent stamp set. I quite like this, with friendly thoughts and best wishes today and every day. I thought that was quite a nice sentiment. And I'm thinking that I will stamp it in black. You certainly may case this. Yes, I did see somebody had done a sort of similar sort of something, and I thought, oh, I've not done one of those sort of cards with the idea of, I've done cards in the past with these sort of like tri-frames, like panels. I thought, oh, I've not done one of those for a long time. That's a good idea. So I can't remember who it was that I saw, or even what they had on their panels. It just inspired me for the idea. So I'm going to ink this up with some stays on. I'm going to use stays on because, and we're going stays on black this time, obviously, because it tends to be a slightly blacker black than Memento. Let me get my mat out. Not that it matters particularly whether this is upside down, or that's looking a bit wonky actually. Yeah, I'm going to take that stamp off of there and stick it back on it. It's got a bit of a curve on it. Let's try that. That's better. Having said that, I have just inked that up and stamped it in Memento. It wasn't stays on after all, but it will do the trick. Oh dear. If I had a brain, I'd be dangerous. Right. Actually, this greeting is come out much smaller than I thought it was going to, so I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough. I'm wondering actually whether where has our, can you hear my brain ticking? I'm sure it must be nearly audible. Just wondering whether to do something with the little lantern. Might actually hang some off of those trailing. Let's take our black panels back. Just need something to fill the gap in between, and that might be a fun way of doing it. Let's bring in some bit more of the embossing buddy, and our Versamark. So Little odd stalk just there. Let's, fingers crossed. That sounds lovely, Roz. I think we might need a bit of a paintbrush job in there. Let's heat this one and see what this looks like. There they go. Ooh. They're quite pretty, aren't they? I think we will continue and put some more on. Do the other two. Did I embossing buddy these? I think I did, didn't I? Just for good measure. So let's have one hanging off there. One hanging off there. And one hanging off there, and we'll carry on and do these three while we're at it. 1, 2, 3. Go. Let's pop the lid on there and heat these up. There we go. Right, that's looking a bit better. Let's put the lid on that ink pad and let's do some sticking together and see what happens. Lady's just slid off. Stay. So, red panel. Gutted gold border. And black panel. It wants to come up just slightly. There's one. That is Red Poppy Parade, yes. Yes, I think it has become my favourite red. I think it's definitely more orangey than real red. But particularly for these sort of, it just is that got that bit more zing to it. But the others all have their place. You could obviously do away with this gold foil border, or you could alternatively heat emboss, particularly if you were doing a class. where you've got lots of people, you could heat emboss around the edge of your black card just to give it a bit of gold edge without necessarily using gold foil. But at least by gutting it, we've made sure that we're going to use the rest of it. That centerpiece can be used for sentiments and die cutting, and they are lovely, aren't they? Yes, red and black like this is very sort of traditionally oriental colours, isn't it? My husband and I were in London last week on a bit of a jolly. We very rarely do these sorts of things, but we did have a bit of a jolly, and we did because we were going to a show in the West End. Did wander through Chinatown, which of course still got all its lanterns and things up for Chinese New Year. So very much black and gold in abundance. So there we are. It's rather lovely. Very pleased with that. So then we've got our two pagodas, and I think we'll put some of they'll put those up on some dimensionals. One. Yes. Yeah, I think that poppy red is sort of a bit more oriental, isn't it? Then we'll have our little lady. Just got our little greetings. And I think I'm going to take my snips, she says. Well, come on, you can't be far away. I had you just now because I fussy cut those greetings. Oh well, these scissors will do just as well, because I just want to cut a very thin strip of this dimensionals. I'm going to put some bits of it on the back of here. It's a really lovely thing about these edge pieces, is being able to do this sort of thing. Where's that other piece gone? There you are. So with friendly thoughts and best wishes today and every day. I'm not sure about those greetings. I think I am going to take them off. And I may well, I'm just going to go and explore and find a different greeting. And when I have decided on what that greeting is going to be, I'll post a picture for you. But that is the basics of that card. So it came out of my head and onto a project. So there we are. You have a trifold card, all in black and red and gold. And that one, very different from this just simple embossed watercolour penciled saddle brown stays on inked little pagoda. So I'm very pleased with those. I say I'll go and find some more greetings. Needs to be something a bit bigger, I think. I will take a picture of it when I've decided, because I don't think we want to spoil it at this stage. So enjoy the rest of your day. For some of you, the day is you're already on to tomorrow. I'm dinner, and then I'm going to meet up for a coffee with some friends, which will be lovely. And I will catch up with you all very soon. Thank you for all the hearts and the love.